Detroit basketball.
Alright Pistons fans, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about the struggles of our Detroit Pistons. So I know a lot of people have been upset with the way we've been playing recently, and I understand everyone's frustration, but me personally, okay, I understand how bad we're playing, but I feel like we need to put things into perspective. I wanted to make this video so you guys can understand the reasons why we're bad. I'm not here to deny the fact that we are playing poorly right now, but I'm here to give you the reasons why we are playing poorly. And I've made a full list of notes. I have about 14 reasons why I believe we're playing so poorly right now, and I really do believe this is probably going to be one of my best videos that I've made in a pretty long time. I think the points that I'm going to make are going to sound right to you guys, and it's going to make sense to a lot of you. So before we get into all of that, please make sure you guys like this video. Today's like goal will be 100 likes as always. I appreciate all of y'all who like my videos. Now let's get into this. So look, man, reason number one why I feel like the Pistons are playing so poorly right now is because of the schedule, okay? The schedule has been murderer's row through and through. I will put the screen recording on the screen right now. I mean, look at these teams, man. We play teams like the Lakers, the Blazers, the Nets, Warriors, Heat, Suns, Clippers, Bucks. It's not even fair, man, at times. And look, I do understand that we should be beating teams like the Sacramento Kings or a team like the New Orleans Pelicans, or at least be competitive with them. We shouldn't be getting blown out in these type of games. But you just cannot deny the fact that the teams we've been playing against have been tough, man. Heat, Bucks, Lakers, like these are legit playoff teams, and we've had to go against them, man. So I feel like that's my reason number one why I feel like we've been playing so poorly. It's just the competition that we're going up against is just on a whole nother level. Our talent just doesn't compare to a team like the Lakers or any other one of these top teams that we've won against. And my next point is going to explain a little bit the record and why our record has been so bad so far. So the thing is that people aren't talking about the injuries, okay? Cade Cunningham missed 5 games. He basically missed like the first month or so of the basketball season. Then we had Killian Hayes, who went down a few games ago with that thumb injury. He missed 5 games as well. And then Kelly Olynyk got injured really early in the season. He's missed 15 games so far. And then recently, as of this morning, Grant will be out bare minimum 4 weeks. So these injuries, man, have just killed us. This absolutely ruins any type of chemistry that you develop with the guys on the floor. It makes Casey have to constantly, adjust the lineups. Just these injuries, I feel like, have killed this team, and is the reason why we've lost so many basketball games. Because if Cade Cunningham was with our team from the start, I think we could have won a few more games at the beginning of the season. If we never would have lost Kelly Olynyk, I think we would have won at least one of these few games that we've lost recently, maybe that Washington game. Who knows? I'm just saying that injuries have been a major factor with the Pistons this year. My next point that I will mention is Hamidou Diallo, man. So that was a weird drama situation between him and Dwayne Casey. I don't understand why he was never playing, but the fact that Casey sat him out is a big factor and why I feel like we've lost a few of these basketball games. Because look at what he's doing now, man. Every single time Diallo comes into the game, he's getting you a rebound. He's getting you a steal, a defensive stop. He's coming on the court and just giving you something. And I feel like if we could have had him earlier on in the season, it could have contributed to the Pistons playing better. So the fact that Diallo was sitting on the bench is just the L on Dwayne Casey, and is a reason why I feel like we've lost some of these basketball games. But thankfully, he's playing now. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is simply coaching. Now, I'm not going to go too far into it, okay? You guys already know my opinion on Dwayne Casey, and I'm not here to say that I know more than an NBA coach, but I do have an opinion, and I do have eyes, and I look at what I'm seeing on the court. You can look at the play where Cade Cunningham was inbounding the ball after being hot in overtime. You can look at the rotations that Dwayne Casey decides to run. You can look at the fact that he allows Jeremy Grant to isolate every time he touches the ball. You can look at all those things, but the number one thing that has been killing me and that has been really irritating me, man, is the fact that we come out of the locker room with no energy, man. Look at the Lakers game back when Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James got into that scuffle. In that Lakers game, as soon as that whole Isaiah Stewart thing happened, we came out with no energy after that. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like so many games this season, the Pelicans game recently, we will come into halftime. We may be down by a few points. Heck, we may even have the lead. But after halftime, going into the third and the fourth quarter, we come out with no energy and we get destroyed game after game after game. And I feel like that is all on Dwayne Casey. I'm sure you can throw some of the blame on the players, but for me, I'm looking at Casey as a coach. How do you not have your guys energized to go out there and play basketball in the second half. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Corey Joseph. Don't have to talk too much about him. You guys know my opinion on Corey Joseph, but I feel like him this season has been a negative for us for the most part. I do like him as a player, but the way he's been utilized by Dwayne Casey has been poorly. And then also when he gets in the games and he has the ball in his hands, he tends to turn over the basketball quite frequently, which is a problem out of a veteran point guard. I just want him to come in the game and slow the game down, manage the offense. He doesn't have to do too much offensively or defensively, but I don't want him to be a negative either. But Corey Joseph in particular is just a turnover machine at times. So I feel like he's been a big factor as to why the Pistons have been playing so poorly. The next thing that I'm going to say is that Isaiah Stewart, he missed 2 games with the whole LeBron James situation. Killian Hayes, as much as I love him, you guys know I believe he has massive potential, but he is an inconsistent offensive player. So with that being said, on the offensive end of the floor, it could be times where we're basically playing 4-on-5 basketball because Killian isn't there yet offensively. I believe he will develop that part of his game in the future, but as of right now, he doesn't really have a consistent offensive game, so that's been holding back the offense a little bit. The next thing I'm going to talk about is that we don't have a big man right now. We all know that opens up many problems for this team. You can't really run the pick and roll. On the defensive side of the court, the lane will be wide open for guys to just drive to the hole and score inside. You look at the recent game, Valanciunas against Isaiah Stewart. Valanciunas got the rebound every single play and just put it back over Isaiah Stewart. So when you go and look without a big, that is massively going to affect your team. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the slumps of this team, all right? The shooting slumps. I have never seen something like this before in my times of watching and playing basketball. Like, I have never seen guys who have been good shooters and then the very next year just forget how to shoot. I've never seen that before. Saddiq Bey, Frank Jackson, well, Frank, he's beginning to pick it up a little bit, but Saddiq Bey, Frank Jackson, you know, everybody on this team, they're in a massive shooting slump right now. And I guess you could say that everyone in the league is shooting poorly. That is true, but when it comes to our Pistons specifically, I don't know what the problem is. Do you blame the shooting coaches? Do you blame the players? Like, I have never seen a team where a year ago you were pretty good at shooting the basketball and then you come back and half of your players forget how to shoot. I've never seen that before. The next thing I'm going to talk about is defensive communication, okay? And what I mean by that is just guys, they're not out there helping each other on the defensive end of the floor. There have been so many times where guys will be just directly staring at the basketball and not looking around and looking at other areas of the court where guys are coming from behind them, doing backdoor cuts and scoring easy layups inside. And the reason why that's happening is because number one, as I just said, guys are staring at the ball, but another thing is that they're just not communicating with each other. If you begin to communicate and say, hey, look at your defender, he's cutting to the basket, or hey, I need help defense, or just something, begin to communicate with your teammates. That will help your team defensively, but the Pistons are not doing that right now. A lot of guys are just standing out there, not talking to each other, and they're allowing the other teams to score. The next thing I'm going to talk about is just not enough effort in these games. I just talked about Dwayne Casey and him not getting guys energized to come out and play well after halftime, but just this team in general, it just hasn't been enough effort on the court. You know, outside of Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham defensively, I don't think guys are giving their all. And then also, like, the only one time that I really saw this team, you know, really get out there and try their hardest is in that Lakers game, okay? It felt like heading up against LeBron James. You know, Grant, he came out there and he wanted to play his best, but outside of that game and every other game, it just doesn't feel like guys are going out there and trying their hardest. I don't know them personally. We don't know what's inside their head, so I may be wrong with this, but it just feels like when I watch these games, they're not trying their hardest against a random team like Sacramento or a random team like the Cavs. It feels like against a team like the Lakers, they may get up and try to play hard, but against other teams, they don't try their hardest. And then my last and final point is that the youth of this team that we have right now, we have so many guys who are 20 years old, 21. You know, Josh Jackson, I think he's 24, Diallo 23. Like, all of these guys on this team are so young right now, and with that inexperience, you're most likely going to lose a lot of games. You know, I know a lot of people like to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies or any other young teams who's having success. Yes, there are young teams who have success in the NBA, but typically, if you look throughout the history of the NBA, most teams who are young usually play really, really poorly. Most of the teams that have success and make the playoffs are veteran teams with a good mix of young talent and older guys as well. But this Pistons team just doesn't have that right now. We have a whole bunch of young guys who are years away from competing at a high level. So Pistons fans, to wrap up this video, I just want to say that there's still light at the end of the tunnel, okay? I still believe in this team. I still believe we have a really bright future, but there are a lot of problems and issues that need to be addressed. So Pistons fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Thank y'all for 4K, and I'm out.